Do you want to listen to a story? Do you want to listen to a story about camping? Do you want to listen to a story about a bear trying to eat one more marshmallow? Then you should listen up. A Camping Spree with Mr. McGee by Chris Van Dusen. A Camping Spree with Mr. McGee by Chris Van Dusen. Early one morning at 7:03, Mr. McGee and his little dog Dee packed up the camper and hitched up the load, hopped in the Rambler, and then hit the road. They drove to the mountains, far from the sea, for 2 nights of camping, or possibly 3. "There's nothing like camping," said Mr. McGee. "I know you will love it. Just you wait and see. The views are fantastic. There is hardly a sound, aside from the wildlife. There's no one around. And the air is so sweet. You will sleep like a log," said Mr. McGee to a small spotted dog. A few hours later, they took a sharp right and found a great spot to lay camp for the night. It was high on a hill with a beautiful sight of Mount Adams, Mount Lincoln, and Jefferson too. But perhaps the most wonderful feature of all was the brook that ran over a steep waterfall. Dee gathered pine cones and branches and logs. McGee made a campfire and cooked some hot dogs. As the sun set behind far distant knolls, they sat roasting marshmallows over the coals. As the embers went out, they felt tired and dozy, so they climbed in their bunk beds, all comfy and cozy. While they were falling asleep without care, along came a stumbling, bumbling, rumbling bear. A kindly old bear whose sight wasn't so clear. He couldn't see far, and he couldn't see near. But he could smell marshmallows, sticky and sweet. The smell made him hungry. He wanted a treat. He sniffed up the place where the marshmallows lay, but the car and the camper were in the bear's way. Yet that didn't stop the sneaky old snitch. He simply tried squeezing right under the hitch. And as he was shimmying into the gap, he pushed up the hitch, which let go with a snap. Now the camper and the car were untied. They started to roll down the rocky hillside. The car bounced away on the old loggy road, and the camper was heading to where the stream flowed. It flew down a hill on a wild, bumpy ride, with Dee and McGee sleeping soundly inside. They were snoring and snoozing, enjoying a dream, when splash went the camper right into the stream. Now the splash shook the camper. They bumped out of bed. "Now what in the world is that?" McGee said. And when he looked up and saw where they were, his hair stood on end, and so did Dee's fur. Dee and McGee both started to quiver. Faster and faster, they headed down the river. But just as they thought they'd fall over the edge, their camper got stuck on a rock at the ledge. So there they were, stranded, McGee and his pup, on the top of a waterfall, 50 feet up. Meanwhile, that nearsighted bear from before was searching for one little marshmallow more, when lo and behold, as if out of a dream, he spied something sweet flowing over the stream. But what the bear thought was a marshmallow treat was really the hitch and not something to eat. The bear was determined to capture his prize, so he jumped into the water right up to his thighs. He splashed the stream to the edge of the fall, snug to the trailers, camper and all. Dee felt a tug. McGee heard a knock. As the bear pulled the camper right off the rock. He dragged them both all the way back to the bank, when he realized the hitch was not something sweet, but quite rank. He spit out the hitch and left in dismay, while McGee and Dee's camper again rolled away. It flew down the path with a jolt and a jar, and stopped in some bushes, right next to the car. Dee popped her head up. McGee looked out too. Had they really stopped rolling? Could it be true? At last things were quiet and peaceful and still. They hooked up the hitch and they drove up downhill. And on the way home, McGee said to Dee, "That trip wasn't quite what I thought it would be." So when they got home with the sky turning red, they decided to camp in the backyard instead. That's it.